Hello, I'm Michaelis Cage, and welcome back to my channel. And as you can tell by my sweet podium, that it is time for me to go on a rant about a movie that I care far too much about, and a movie that you probably don't care about at all. And today, that movie is gonna be Child's Play 2. But we're not just gonna, break down and dissect Child's Play 2. We're gonna discuss and figure out why it's better than the original. Now, if you're thinking, oh no, but I haven't seen the first one, I'll have no idea what's going on. Well, first off, you would catch on pretty quickly what's going on, but I'll catch you up. So, in the first one, a serial killer named Charles Lee Ray is getting chased by a cop. He gets shot. And when he's dying, he says some sort of voodoo curse. And while saying this voodoo curse, he transforms into a good guy doll. So when he's in this good guy doll, unlucky for Andy, who comes back in this movie, unlucky for Andy, he gets the good guy doll that has Charles Lee Ray, and Charles Lee Ray, not knowingly, when you did this curse, he, whoever you tell first, is the person you have to do the voodoo switch to become back a human. So he has to switch back. So he's trying to say this curse to switch back into Andy's body. Well, he doesn't do it. He fails. Andy and his mom, they win. They live happy ever after until this movie starts. And that's kind of where this movie starts off. That's really about it. So there's not too much else you need to know. It's pretty easy to catch on what's going on in this whole series. So now you should be fully caught up, and that's enough talking about nothing. Let's get into this movie scene by scene breakdown, dissection, because that's what we're all here for, right? So we start off with the reconstruction of Chucky. And this is what the Chucky doll ended up looking like at the end of the first film. So for some reason, this toy company decides that it's a brilliant idea to bring the Chucky doll back, even though in the press and in all of the supermarket tabloids they say that all of it is talking about how that there's this demon possessed doll. Not only are they bringing this doll back, I would guess less than a year later of all of this happening, they decide that to reconstruct this doll, let's use the exact doll that this kid was saying was possessed by this serial killer. So I would say we have not only one, but two bad decisions happening here. This doll should not be coming back, first off. And second, let's not use the doll that was in this murderous case. Because that just sounds like a bad omen to me, one. And second, maybe the doll is possessed. Maybe we just don't want to fuck with this doll. But they start scraping the charcoal off the skin, and they start scraping, I guess, plaque off of the teeth because, as you can see, this doll has human teeth. It's just such a weird choice for this doll company to not only give the toy human looking teeth, but the teeth aren't even straight or perfect. Like they literally look like used teeth. It's just it's such an odd decision to make for your toy, for your children's toy. On top of that, now I'm no toy maker, but I feel like mass producing a metal face is not very cost effective. You could probably use something cheaper, like, I don't know, plastic? So this super busy businessman has busy businessman things to do.
Good morning, Mr. Sullivan. I have a meeting in a few minutes with some very jittery stockholders, Max. I hope you have good news for me.
Yes, sir. I do, sir.
Okay, so awkward dialogue aside, because I don't think anyone enters a conversation just like, boom, this is what I'm doing today. But if you look at the background of the semi and the posters when they open their door, there is good guy doll stuff. Now, this doll has been discontinued. They have been not making this doll. So why would this doll be on promotion? They're going to this business meeting to show them this new working doll that they're like, oh, let's bring it back. Everyone's forgotten about that story that happened 8 months ago that really no one's forgotten about. But it's just so weird. Now, if you just look at it again here. So on their way to their busy businessman meeting, they give us a quick expo dump from the original.
Now they can't hurt us, but the mother's a different matter. She backed up her boy's story in court, so now she's under psychiatric observation.
My goodness, that is dark. So the police who witnessed, there was a few police who witnessed this killer doll completely denied it, leaving this lady out to dry. So now this lady is locked up in a psych ward getting evaluated because she blamed us all on a doll that actually did it, and some police seen it. So the guys who are working on the doll start finishing it up right before the stockholders meeting. And before the stockholders meeting, some chaos ensues. Is electricity known to send you flying like that? And I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm like 99% sure I'm not wrong. But this is the only time that we see Chucky have powers that he can disrupt technology or have some sort of electric mystical powers. We never see Chucky use these again. This is a one-time use. I think he wanted to make sure everyone knew that he was back bigger and better for his sequel. After all that, we meet up with our pal Andy from the original. And since his mom is now locked up in a mental institution, he has been staying at a foster care facility. And today is a special day because a family has come to see if they and Andy are a match and if Andy should come live with them.
He's badly traumatized by the murders, but they bounce back pretty fast at that age. Poor kid. What Andy needs now is a normal family environment.
Yeah, I'm sure this situation isn't scarring at all and Andy is just gonna bounce right back. This lady is really like underplaying this like whole situation and kind of giving these people false hope into what they're getting into. Like she should really be honest with them and let them know, not be like, well, at this young of age, they really bounce back. Well, no, you can't say that because I'm not sure how many people have dealt with a possessed killer doll.
Well, in order to come to terms with something he couldn't possibly understand, he turned it all into a kind of fairy tale. He insisted his doll was responsible.
And we get horror cliche number 1. No one believes the person who everything is happening to. And then the child services lady starts telling them and giving them facts about Charles Lee Ray. And this, like, literally only makes sense to the audience watching the movie. Because why would she do this?
It was possessed by the soul of Charles Lee Ray.
Who?
The Lakeshore Strangler. He murdered a dozen people in this series of ritual voodoo killings.
After getting their previously on Child's Play recap, all situated, the loving couple, their names are Phil and Joanne, they decide they are going to take Andy. And at least we do know that this is a loving couple who has taken foster kids before. So we do know that Andy is in safe hands.
You're in luck, Andy. Joanne's a terrific cook. Like sushi? You know what I mean by sushi?
Dude just almost killed Andy and his wife over some sushi. Well, they get home safely. Thank goodness. Who knew? Well, they end up getting home safely. Andy looks around the place. They look at some trinkets. They see this little statue, which does come back later with Chucky. We'll talk about that. They tell him his room's upstairs, so Andy heads up to his room. But before he gets it to his room, he makes a quick little stop.
Jesus. Did you ever hear it knocking?
Andy,
For real, Andy, it's pretty damn rude just to go barging in rooms like this. And who does this? Like, who just goes barging? Like, he's never been here before. And he's like, you know what? I'm just fucking going in here. Don't care what's happening on the other side of this door.
Are you crazy? Give them to me.
Joanna.
Phil will shoot you if he catches you again. Andy, this is Kyle. She's staying with us too.
Phil will shoot you if he catches you? I am seriously worried for Andy. And I also love how nobody knows she's smoking until they get in her room. Like, cigarettes fucking stink. You would smell that down the hall, maybe even down the stairs. Like, they would be like, Alex, they'd be like, Kyle, quit smoking. There's no way they'd, like, it would take them to come to the room and go, Kyle. So after we meet the street tough Kyle, and we know she's street tough because she smokes and has a leather hat, Andy finally gets to his room. Andy walks into his room, sees all the new toys, gets all excited. You know, he's checking them out. The mom's talking about all this shit they're gonna do. Andy goes to the closet. And this is when we get another hint that these parents fucking suck.
Later, I'll read you some stories. Would you like that? There are lots of kids your age in the neighborhood, Andy. I'm sure you're going to make all sorts of new friends.
Like, what the hell? The one thing you can't have in this room is the good guy now. This kid would be completely fine. You're going... Like, what could go through your mind, right? You're like, well, we're going to see the kid. They do say that he did think the good guy doll was possessed. But we do have one of those upstairs. Let's keep it there and booby trap it so it jumps out at him.
Hey. Andy, rule number 2, no running in the house.
It's only a doll. Andy, are you listening to me?
Hey, Phil, how about you relax and show some sympathy? Like, not only is this probably the first time he's seen a good guy doll since, like, all that shit happened, this thing, like, literally just jumped out at him. So, I don't know. Maybe take it easy. So now we jump back over to Chucky, who is now being carried by the businessman's assistant from the beginning. And the businessman's assistant, I guess, is taking him home because the whole thing went little AWOL earlier, went off the rails. But the assistant on the way home gets a call from his girlfriend, and he finds out he has to make a stop to get some booze because there's some sort of anniversary or they're celebrating something. And when the guy stops to go inside, Chucky uses his payphone, not his payphone, his car phone to make a little call.
Yes, I'm trying to reach Andy Barkley.
Andy no longer lives here. Who is this?
This is his uncle, Charles.
So I guess the foster care lady just gave out the address of where Andy's living now to a complete stranger over the phone, even though he just had all of this crazy shit happen. Because when the businessman guy comes back inside, Chucky puts a gun to his head and makes him drive him to the address that he was just given. And since Chucky is so level-headed, he's definitely gonna let the guy leave for driving him there.
You're dead.
Oh, Chucky, that little trickster. Well, Chucky kills that guy and heads into the house that Andy's staying at. And luckily for Chucky, downstairs he just happens to run into another good guy doll. You know, the one that Andy found earlier. And this is perfect for the old switcheroo.
Hi, I'm Tommy.
Shut up, you idiot.
Like to be hugged. I 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 like to be hugged.
Hug this.
So Chucky smashes up that good guy doll's face, drags it outside, and buries it under a tree swing. The perfect plan. And I'm almost positive that that'll not come up later at a crucial plot point. I'm so glad they had Chucky use that little toy plastic shovel. Just so adorable. The next morning at breakfast, the kids get blamed for that trinket getting smashed that Chucky used to beat the good guy doll. He used it and ended up breaking. So they blame the kids. The kids have to go do some chores. And during these chores, they start bonding a little bit.
Mr. Simpson is kind of grouchy, isn't he?
It's not so bad. I've had fosters that would shoot you for staring at them cross-eyed.
Really?
Sure. They figure you're not theirs, you're just passing through. And the minute...
What is it with these foster parents using shooting these kids as a threat? So I guess Phil isn't that bad. He'll only shoot you if you smoke in his house, not if you look at him cross-eyed. So just when we were thinking Phil isn't that bad, this comes out of seemingly nowhere.
You have to admit he's a very troubled little boy, and he obviously has not come to terms with this whole doll thing.
Like, dude, what has he done with the doll that's been all that crazy? All he did was run out of the room when the damn thing lunged at him out of the closet. I don't think what he's doing is that crazy. But like the boss he is, Andy goes, grabs the doll, checks for batteries smartly, but he grabs the doll, takes it into the kitchen, and does this so Phil will shut the hell up.
Hi.
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 Yeah, Phil, now chill the hell out. Well, this peacefulness for the family only lasts till later that night, because Chucky literally wastes 0 time letting Andy know that he's back.
Surprise! Did you miss me, Andy? I sure missed you.
Well, Chucky picks up right where he left off and starts doing his classic chant.
Ade dui dembella. Give me the power, I beg.
Luckily for Andy, Kyle comes and interrupts the whole situation. But it's super unlucky for Kyle to come into this whole situation.
What the hell is this now?
It's Chucky. I told you he'd find me. Tried to take over my soul.
Andy, calm down.
Of course, no one believes Andy that Chucky did this, even though this kid was tied up. And Phil gets pissed that Andy could even think that Chucky did something like this, even though this doll just popped out of him at the closet, and he is like tied up in the middle of the night to his bed. Like, even if it was a nightmare, like, okay, it's plausible that this kid would blame this doll that he's been blaming for other shit. It is clear to me that Phil does not have the temper to handle foster kids, let alone foster kids that need special care like a situation Andy's in.
There, see? He's gone. He can't bother you anymore.
Yep, trauma cured. Thanks, Phil. So after Phil throws Chucky down the stairs and cures Andy's trauma, we see that Chucky starts bleeding, which means that Chucky is running out of time, and he needs to hurry up and do this switch with Andy, or he's going to be stuck in this body forever, or until the next movie. So we get through that eventful night, and the next day, Andy has his first day at a new school. Hopefully, this poor kid can just go to school and have a normal day. He deserves a normal day.
I know.
Of course. Now, I don't know if it was just my school, but getting the back of the bus was a sweet deal. So Andy should be stoked about this because he's getting the best seat in the house. So it seems to be a pretty normal day for Andy. You know, he does a couple school assignments, gets ridiculed by his new teacher, goes to recess and does whatever this is. The fond memories of standing 2 inches from a fence and I guess just throwing the ball over and over and over against it. But either way, if Andy's having fun, he's having fun. Who cares? The most important thing is there is no sight of Chucky.
Where is it? Where is it? Aha!
Damn it. But anyway, I let that clip play a little bit longer on purpose so you could see the actress who plays Andy's teacher. And if you're an Office fan, you probably recognized her immediately. She plays Dwight's date in the famous Office episode Dinner Party. So that's just a little tidbit for Office fans there. But anyway, we see what Chucky was up to when he was looking at the papers earlier. So, of course, it's the early 90s. The teacher's pissed, and now Andy is definitely going to get her wrath. And her wrath might be a little more physical than people would be comfortable with nowadays.
And you think this is funny?
I didn't do that.
Go ahead, kids. Don't forget the spelling test tomorrow. Not you. Come over here. Sit down and get comfy. You're going to be here for a while.
Jesus, she like yanked him up. But that's not even the worst part of this scene. Her like yanking him and grabbing him by the arms is not even the worst. This lady literally locks this kid in this room. It has to be against every fire hazard, like fire law, like lock and key locks this kid in there. But before she does lock him in there, she sees Andy eyeballing Chucky. Now, obviously, we know why he's eyeballing Chucky, but she thinks it's because he wants to play with him. So she takes Chucky and throws him in the closet and locks this door. Now, this is key. She locks this door, which makes no sense to what she does later.
I promise I won't kill anyone else, okay? Now open the goddamn door! Let me out, you little dick!
So Andy dips out of this situation, as he should. But when our teacher comes back, she's not as lucky. But this is where I don't understand. She comes back, Andy's not in there. Now, I would assume that he probably went out the window. Not went into the closet that you locked with your key that has been on your hip that you used to get into this closet. It just makes no sense why she thinks Andy would be in here.
Andy, come out this very second. Andy!
Andy, did you use teleportation to go through the door again? So she gets ragdolled across the room, gets like murdered and stuff. But this is where I would say that the movie, well, Chucky takes a little flip, right? Chucky kind of becomes Andy's vigilante at this point. Because there's a thing later, but at this moment, you know, he's killing Andy's abusive teacher. And he has a situation later where he kind of...
You've been very naughty, Miss Kettlebell.
That is probably the scariest that Chucky has ever looked. But Andy gets home safely, thank goodness. But the second he gets home, he starts getting berated by this dill hole. And he has to hear Phil say stupid shit like this.
He's not our child.
And then we get to see Kyle give him this heartfelt message.
I've lived with dozens of different families. And they always seem to send me away just when I'm getting comfortable. But you know what?
Great. So now Andy will never feel comfortable or trust a home again. Good job, Kyle. Your words of wisdom really help. So to avoid getting kicked out of this house, because Andy, I guess, likes it here for some ungodly reason, later that night, he decides to take matters into his own hands and sneaks down to the basement where him and Chucky get into this little tussle wrestling match.
What the hell's going on down? Andy?
I love how even during that little scuffle, Chucky had supersonic hearing and knew it exactly when to run away. But, of course, Phil doesn't listen to Andy, doesn't believe Andy, and honestly, in my opinion, get what he has coming to him. Continuing the theory to where maybe Chucky is actually Andy's guardian angel in part 2. Well, I don't know if guardian angel is the right aspect. He is getting rid of bad people.
How's it hanging, Phil?
I am so glad Phil got to be face to face with Chucky right before he died. Just to know that Andy was telling the truth the whole time. Like, take that, you fucking dick. But Chucky uses his supersonic hearing one more time and scuffles right away. And down comes Joanne and Kyle. And obviously they think that either Andy did this or he did something to cause it. He led to it. So Joanne is done. They call the foster people. They say, come pick this kid up. We cannot take this anymore.
Andy, you'll be fine now. You come stay at this center with us for a few days until we can find you a new family.
So Andy gets taken away. And after everything, Kyle's kind of like downstairs. She sees the Chucky doll. So she grabs the doll, she goes outside, she throws it in the dumpster. After she throws it in the dumpster, she goes to have a smoke, and she goes on when she's having the smoke, she's on the swing. And yes, that swing. The swing that Chucky buried the original good guy doll under. So I guess by finding this buried doll, she now like kind of sort of believes Andy. And I don't know, this is a bit of a stretch to me, because if I found this like buried doll, I wouldn't think, oh, the other doll's definitely alive, right? I would just think, oh no, it's just that weird ass kid doing more weird ass shit. But finding this doll under the swing does make her go check the trash can that she did just throw that original good guy doll in about 10 minutes ago. Oh my god.
Joanne!
So Kyle and Chucky, they wrestle around, they roll around a bit, and somehow this grown-ass human gets overpowered by this little-ass doll.
Bitch, you hurt me.
So Chucky takes Kyle hostage and makes her drive him to Andy's foster orphanage house place. But on the way to the foster place, a cop pulls him over. And boy, oh boy, does comedy ensue.
That's one of those good guys, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I love these things. What's your name, buddy? Chucky.
I love how this cop was just so impressed by the doll going, Chucky. And if the guy actually like knew about these dolls, I feel like he would know that this definitely is not the voice that Chucky uses. Or the good guy doll
See
uses.
dolls that pee? This one bleeds.
And the theater erupts in laughter. So the cop lets him go, and they end up getting to Andy's foster home, where one of the most disturbing kills happens. This kill really stuck with me as a child. I'm not sure why, but this one really hit something in the brain. It It hit a core nerve. There's just something about that scene. I don't know if it's her blood-curdling scream or the copy machine, but it's something about it. Just, I don't know, man. It really hit a core as a kid. So in all of this commotion, Chucky finally gets Andy hostage, and they take off and jump into the back of some sort of truck, mail truck, delivery truck. I'm not sure.
Stop!
Damn, almost had him. So Kyle jumps in her car and speeds after this truck in what is a really exciting car chase. I'm not going to show any of it. You're just going to have to take my word for it. But Kyle finally gets this semi guy or delivery guy to pull over, and he's pissed. But luckily, we pulled over in front of this place. Kyle follows Andy and Chucky into the what might be one of my favorite movie set pieces of all time. I always loved this factory, the look of it. I thought it was just always so cool to me as a kid. Just all the yellow, everything about it. Like, check it out. Look at this. See what I'm saying? The place is just so cool. There's more of it, and you'll see throughout like this chase scene, because this whole third act takes place in this Toy Story. So Chucky and Andy go find a quiet little corner so Chucky can start doing his age-old chant that we've already heard 7 times by now. Oh no, Andy! Oh, never mind. I guess it just didn't work. So after Chucky lets out that comedic yell, which I swear was not edited at all, that is exactly how the clip happens, he reveals to us it's too late, and he is now stuck in this body.
It's too late! I've spent too much time in his body! I'm fucking trapped in here! What the hell?
So now with no need for Andy's body, Chucky is out for blood. And they sneak around the factory. They run through some dead ends because this factory also has a maze of boxes. It's literally just like a maze of boxes for no reason. Just a maze. But they get to the spot where Andy and Kyle decide they're going to climb up this roller thing for absolutely no reason.
Come on!
Why? Who fucking knows? But they do. And it backfires. Because of course it does. So Chucky crawls after Andy at what seems like lightning speed, but he doesn't catch him. And Kyle lets down this, I guess this gate thing? I don't know. But it falls on Chucky's hand and he gets stuck. And this leads to what might be one of the most gruesome scenes. And I'm not sure why it's gruesome, but it is. Like, Chucky is just silicone and plastic, but seeing that rip apart, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies, and oh no, it's not done. What Chucky will go through just so he can stab somebody with a knife.
I hate kids.
Knife Hand Chucky is so badass. Well, Kyle and Andy are somewhere else in the factory, and Chucky sneaks up behind them, I guess you could say is what this is. So Chucky gets stapled down, and Kyle sends him up into this machine that's been malfunctioning, and it seems to be just like putting arms in random places. It's super overheating, so it's like really melting the plastic. And she sends Chucky up into this thing and says, "Good riddance." And he comes out looking like this. There's no coming back from that.
Got you now, Andy. And you know what I'm gonna do to you?
Well, Andy handled that easily. There's definitely no coming back from that. Okay, for real this time. There is no coming back from that. So, Kyle blew up Chucky. Andy and Kyle leave the factory and live happily ever after, or at least until part 3. And after all that, if you still can't see why Child's Play 2 is better than the original, I don't know what to tell you. But thank you guys so much for joining me on this dissection and breakdown of this is literally one of my favorite horror movies and one of my favorite horror franchises, just like Leprechaun is. These are a blast for me to make. They do, like I say, these ones do take a whole lot of time and effort and editing and anything. So if you guys are enjoying these, please do like and subscribe, because it does help and it makes making these worthwhile. It feels good when I know that people are watching it and enjoying them as much as I'm making them. But that'll do it for today. And what movie we do next time, I have no idea. I already have a whole list in my phone of movies to do. So we're going to keep spitting these out. Because like I said, right now, I'm having an absolute blast making these. But I will catch you guys next time. I'm Michaelis Cage. Peace.